still have your 50-50 or your phone a friend available to you, so...
If you're my friend, I know.
Your friend don't know it? Want to try the 50-50?
I can say astrologist.
You can say astrologist?
I think that's right.
Final answer, right?
Yeah. Right.
Very good. All right. You look in the stars, and the stars came back void. That is the wrong answer, my dear. He was indeed a pedo.
Because I never hear about that man. I never heard about that.
And that, my dear, brings us to your third and final strike. And you ain't quite reached on to Michael Road yet. Because the next road right here on Townsend Hall.
Whatever.
Catch that bus again right there. Because it gotta come off of the GP242. But thank you very much for playing. You've been a very good participant.
Thank you.
All right, you did rather well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you too, ma'am. Next time on the GT242 ride, I don't know who it could be. Maybe it could be you.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, an emergency press conference held today as the Northwest Bahamas is now under a hurricane watch. And are you prepared? Our ZNS News team took to the streets of Grand Bahama today to find out if Grand Bahamians are ready for the storm. Plus, scores of residents gathering in the West for the first annual Central Government Fair. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news, representatives of the various government agencies converging on the grounds of the Grand Canada Hotel Ballroom on Monday morning. During a special meeting, representatives assured the public that plans are afoot to assist residents ahead of the subtropical storm Nicole and to secure government assets and property. Among those in attendance, the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, Senator Honorable Kirkland Russell, and Senator James Turner. Weather officials disclosing that as of 10 Monday morning, the Northwest Bahama Islands are under a hurricane watch. Our Raven Davis was there and shares the details in this report.
While many Bahamians continue recovery efforts from Hurricane Dorian, a new storm is brewing. The Grand Bahama Disaster Consultative Committee, in conjunction with NEMA, calling a special meeting Monday morning to update islands in the Northwest Bahamas on subtropical storm Nicole, which is now expected to strengthen to a hurricane. Officer in charge of the Department of Meteorology for the extreme northern islands, Siobhan Moxie Bonamy, disclosing that the impending Category 1 storm will pass directly over the city of Freeport on Wednesday evening. Bonamy also noting that Nicole has striking similarities to 2004's Hurricane Jean.
One of the things that is going to be of concern for us is the continuous onshore north to south wind flow on the north coast of Grand Bahama. And we anticipate that wind flow to be, it's already from the northeast, so the winds are going to be coming onshore for at least 54 hours. And that will help pile up water along the north coast.
Now she also shares further characteristics of the storm as the northern islands are now under a hurricane watch.
We anticipate storm surge relating to this system between 3 to 5 feet, and in some instances up to 4 to 6 feet. Overall, we're anticipating 2 to 4 inches of rainfall with isolated maximum amount along the eastern side of Grand Bahama and just west of the West End area, as well as to the east of Abaco.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, imploring residents not to take the storm lightly while calling for an all-hands-on-deck approach. She assures that government stands ready to assist and supports all ongoing storm preparedness efforts.
From past experience, we know that we must take every storm seriously, make necessary precautions, and the necessary precautions as the system approaches our island. Regardless of how serious the system is expected to be, we need to prepare for the worst case scenarios.
Residents are further advised to anticipate sustained tropical storm winds from 6 p.m. on Tuesday through 6 a.m. on Thursday. Nicole formed in the southwestern Atlantic on Monday and becomes the 14th named storm of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training releasing a statement this afternoon on the closure of schools in Abaco, Grand Bahama, and the Berry Islands. The release notes that in partnership with the Met Department, they are closely monitoring Tropical Storm Nicole, which on its present track is expected to impact Abaco, Grand Bahama, and the Berry Islands between tomorrow at 2 p.m. and noon on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. Based on the advice of the Department of the Meteorology, these islands are projected to experience strong and heavy rainfall. As a precautionary measure, the ministry announces that with effect from Tuesday, the 8th of November 2022, all schools on the islands of Abaco, Grand Bahama, and the Berry Islands will close until the all clear is given by the Department of Meteorology. Meanwhile, Acting Prime Minister, the Honorable I. Chester Cooper, issuing a statement on the impending storm. It reads in part that the government is closely monitoring subtropical storm Nicole, which is projected to be in the Bahamas by Wednesday. The late season storm is a reminder that we are not out of the woods yet as the Atlantic hurricane season continues through November 30th. The statement continues that as projections are subject to change, we urge you to follow the official releases of the Bahamas Department of Meteorology. While urging residents not to take the storm lightly, he noted that Nicole poses an imminent threat to the islands under the warning, and everyone must prepare for the worst. Additionally, the acting Prime Minister stated that those who cannot secure themselves at home to please make preparations to move to the nearest storm shelter. Now, Dorothea Gomez, officer in charge of the Department of Social Services for the Northern Bahamas, announcing today that shelter preparations have commenced. She provides a list of shelters to be activated in Freeport, Central and West Grand Bahama by 12 noon on Tuesday ahead of the impending storm.
Foster B. Pestana Center, that's Christ the King. That is the Special Needs Center. That is for persons, like it said, with special needs. That is usually managed by the RAN. First Baptist Church, which is located on Columbus Drive and Nansen Avenue. Revelation Faith Apostolic International, Jobson Avenue. Calvary Temple Chapel, Hudson Avenue. Shiloh Seventh-day Adventist, Turkhurst Road. Central Church of God, Coral Road and Pines Way. Maurice Moore, Sandcombe Drive, and Maurice Moore Shelter is designated for those persons at the east end of Grand Bahama. New Life Worship Center, that is also on Coral Road. First Holiness Church of God, Young Husband Avenue and Shipton Drive. Bishop Michael Eldon School, East Sunrise Highway, and the Outreach Temple, OEC, Pines Way and Fawcett Lane. For West Grand Bahama, Bethel Deliverance Center, Jonestown, Bethany Baptist Church, Hannah Hill, Church of God of Prophecy, Seagrape, Church of God of Prophecy, Pinedale, Central Zion Baptist, Pinedale, Newmont Olivet Baptist Church, Holmes Rock.
For the island of Bimini are Louis McDonald High School located in Alistown and Gateway Gymnasium located in Baileytown. Now, as for the island of Abaco, we will have that in a later newscast. In other news, the Grand Bahama Power Company is actively monitoring forecasts and weather alerts ahead of subtropical storm Nicole. This, according to Chief Operating Officer Nikita Mullings, who assures that a storm response plan is activated and all employees are aware of their responsibilities.
Our inventory levels are also adequately stocked. Our teams at the energy plant will continue to generate power. There is no controlled shutdown plan. And so our system is designed to do exactly what it does and protect itself. We do want to remind our customers to stay away from any down lines. So even if it may be a BTC line, a cable line, a line you're not sure, treat it all as energized. Refrain from entering the work zones, and please do not tie your generators back onto the system, as this can create a safety hazard for the crews.
Filcher Grant Adderley also on hand representing the Grand Bahama Port Authorities and the group of companies, as well as the GB Utility Company. Adderley echoing similar sentiments and says teams are busy working to ensure that a storm response plan is ready to go. She also notes that as long as it is deemed safe to do so, the utility company will continue to generate water throughout the storm.
That includes our ongoing storm drain maintenance and repairs. That includes also our restoration protocols for after storm with our city maintenance. Also our inspection teams, whose job it is to go out ahead of the Grand Bahama Power Company to ensure that the areas are safe to be energized after the passing event of any storms. As it relates to the utility company, we want to be very clear to our customers. We will not be engaging in a controlled shutdown. We will continue to provide water as long as we safely can.
Well, if you had plans to travel this weekend, one airline is already reporting possible flight cancellations. Bahamas Air making adjustments to their scheduled flight due to the impending storm. According to a press release, the public is advised that there will be possible changes to their flight schedule starting Wednesday, November 9th due to Tropical Storm Nicole. The storm is expected to affect the northeast and northwestern portions of the Bahamas starting Tuesday evening. Projections are for wind speeds approaching 70 miles per hour, which will result in flight cancellations to these affected areas of Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Eleuthera. Bahamas Air will provide periodic updates on all flights affected. Additionally, persons scheduled to fly to these destinations on Wednesday and Thursday are asked to contact the reservations department at 702-4140 in the event there are changes to the flight itinerary or it becomes necessary. The release continues that the airline will be reaccommodating customers and all change penalties will be waived. Meanwhile, early this morning, the island of Grand Bahama was placed under hurricane storm watch. Our ZNS News team stopped by a few grocery stores and shopping plazas to speak with residents who are preparing for the weather system that is expected to impact the northern Bahamas by Wednesday. As we'll hear in this report, residents say they are prepared but tired. Just several weeks before the end of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, and the northern Bahamas is once again under a storm threat. Many residents in Grand Bahama are hoping subtropical storm Nicole does not intensify, but weather officials are forecasting that the storm could become a Category 1 hurricane by Wednesday, November 9th. In any event, resident Waylon Bartlett says the late season storm is not welcomed.
Still in this recovery state, and so a hurricane would be very, very bad for us at this time. Tropical storm, we can handle that. But everybody just need to be prepared. You know, grocery stores are empty. Unfortunately, at this time, that's one of the bad. This is one of the bad times for the storm to come when the grocery stores are empty. But get out there, get your water, get your essentials, and just be prepared.
The late season storm, which could reach hurricane strength, will bring heavy rain, coastal and inland flooding, strong winds, and a tornadic risk. Resident Sam Archer says these are all threats that he's fatigued of hearing. His trust is in God.
I always say to myself, I hope we have a safe November. I wish today was the 31st, tell you the truth, because we got another 2 weeks in this month to pass through hurricane season. But God is faithful, even though the loss we had in Dorian. We some of us still here today. We have resilience at the people in the Bahamas.
And for other residents out shopping early today, it was business as usual. They say they did not wait until the last minute, as the message is always the same during every hurricane season.
Prepare. Prepare, prepare, prepare. You know, that's what every Grand Bahamian, every Bahamian and Grand Bahama should always put that as top priority, you know. Be prepared, because, you know, sometimes you're expecting one thing and something else happen. So just be prepared.
I've been prepared from like August. I had my stuff ready and ready to go. Now, you should never wait on the last minute for nothing. That's why the Bible tells us be prepared, because we don't know when the Son of Man would be coming.
I always say this to everyone, be prepared. I put the groceries aside. I have all my lanterns and flashlights and everything, generator in place.
Well, another flight coming into Grand Bahama this past weekend. American Airlines relaunching their Charlotte to Freeport flight. Tourism officials, the Ministry for Grand Bahama, and our Ajaquan were all on hand for their touchdown on the island. Here's that report.
Celebration here at the Grand Bahama International Airport for American Airlines relaunch route from Charlotte, North Carolina to Freeport, Grand Bahama. The Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, welcoming just under 100 passengers to the island.
Tourism officials and the Ministry for Grand Bahama all a part of the welcome celebrations. Minister Moxie says they are very excited about the opportunities on Grand Bahama Island with the additional airlift.
In collaboration with tourism, the Ministry for Grand Bahama is working hard to continue to promote Grand Bahama as a touristic center. And we want people to know that there's so much to do on this island. You know, there's so many hidden gems. And I believe that the people who are here today are going to be able to experience that.
The red carpet was brought out along with Junkanoo for the 60-plus passengers, and the minister made it her mission to greet those on the flight to make them feel welcomed on the island.
It is the first flight from Charlotte, and we want, of course, it to increase. And so we want the visitors, when they come here, to just feel the love, feel the heritage, be immersed in our communities and in our culture. And Junkanoo is our culture, and you know I love Junkanoo. And so we just wanted them to have this warm welcome, and I think we've been able to do that.
Manager at the Ministry of Tourism Grand Bahama, Novalari Chodasing, says this flight represents a culmination of both hours and months of negotiations by tourism executives.
Charlotte is a major airline hub out of the United States. And so to get a flight out of there, particularly with an airline like American Airlines, you know, that puts somebody from, say, the Midwest directly into Charlotte, and then Charlotte directly to Grand Bahama, and that's phenomenal. And so I must congratulate the executive team, the Honorable Minister Chester Cooper, and the entire team doing a wonderful job. And there's more to come, as Minister Moxie would have mentioned to you. So we're looking forward to those things happening and much, much more on Grand Bahama Island.
The flight is scheduled for every Saturday until January 7th, 2023. And this is just one of the many flights Grand Bahama will see in the coming months. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Ajaquan.
Well, the West Grand Bahama District Council hosting its first government agency fair at the 8 Mile Rock High School Gymnasium. The fair attracting hundreds from the West Grand Bahama District in an effort to garner information on various agencies. Jolanda Thompson-Everest reports.
Bringing central government to the people of West Grand Bahama. That was the aim of the Central Government Agency Fair that brought around 20 agencies together to hear the concerns of the people and provide the answers to their questions on the spot. The first of its kind, the Central Government Agency Fair was the brainchild of the Minister of Social Services and Urban Development and Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, the Honorable Obi Wilchcombe. In delivering the keynote address, he shared that as a minister, his duty is to serve and work for his community.
Our job is to cause life to be better, to lift you up, to provide you with opportunities, to cause you to believe in yourself, to cause you to understand that every life is important and that you shouldn't have to stand on lines for service, that you shouldn't have to beg people for favors, that you shouldn't have to be sitting down and waiting to be served at any time.
Minister Wilchcombe also concluding on how the fair has brought him extremely close to a dream he once had.
This is transformation, and this is fundamentally important to me. When I leave public life, I want to leave a brand new place, a place where every single soul believes in themselves, where they understand that these communities are equal to anywhere in the global community.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, bringing remarks, noting that one of the government mandates is to liaison with government agencies to address the basic needs of residents and for the growth of Grand Bahama.
The Davis Group administration has pledged to enhance the ease of doing business in the Bahamas by creating a more business-friendly environment within the government agencies for foreigners and especially for Bahamians. What I am witnessing here today is a prime opportunity for all of the entities represented to create synergistic relationship to ensure that you are working together to meet the needs of the residents in West Grand Bahama.
The central government agency was spearheaded by West Grand Bahama District Council and Chief Councilor Jimmy Smith. Agencies such as Department of Labor, National Insurance Board, Ministry of Housing, Bahamas Customs, Ministry of Social Services, and many more were in attendance. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Jolanda Thompson, Everest.
And when we come back, ZNS Northern Service wrapping up its week-long celebration of 32 years in television and worship this past Sunday. That story and more when the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, returns.
A festival of pizzas has arrived at Pizza Hut Freeport. Try our chicken margarita, grilled chicken Florentine, veggie deluxe, and the carbonara. Did we mention curry chicken pizza? You can also order a large specialty pizza and get a small one-topping pizza free. Pizza Hut Freeport. Dine-in and delivery. Call us at 352-9191. Pizza Hut Freeport.
Come and see the cabinets and countertops in stock now at Specialty Kitchen and Bath, number 16 Oak Street, phone 688-9661.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine so fast when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine so fast when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
When it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed, totally free. Link up with BTC.
Notice production.
The summer is back, back, back. The summer is hot.
With over 30 years of service with integrity, services in Abaco, New Providence, and Grand Bahama, providing modern and state-of-the-art equipment, specializing in the maintenance and operation of waste treatment plants, waste oil movement, sludge extraction, tank cleaning, elite portable toilets, and hand wash stations. We are efficient, reliable, and cutting edge. We are B&B Galaxy.
Hi, I'm Wes. I'd like to put some shoes on your feet.
Hi, I would like to put some shoes on your feet.
Hi, I want to put some shoes on your feet.
I want to put some shoes on your feet.
Hi, I want to put some shoes on your feet.
Let us put shoes on your feet.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. ZNS Northern Service continuing to commemorate the 32nd anniversary of television broadcast in Grand Bahama, this time in corporate worship at the Anglican Church of the Ascension this past Sunday. Members of the executive team, including Chairman Picewell Forbes, General Manager Andrew Burrows, Senior Deputy General Manager Allison Smith, along with the hard-working staff, congregating for a time of reflection, singing, and thanksgiving. The Honorable Miles LaRota, Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, delivering remarks reflecting on the corporation's milestone. He notes that the Northern Service is a valuable asset to the ZNS network and expresses confidence in the next era of broadcast journalism.
This station has distinguished itself as an international award-winning outfit and has deep roots in the social fabric of Grand Bahama. When people need an issue raised, they come to ZNS. As we celebrate this milestone, I would like to thank the men and women who operate our station here. Come rain or shine, through good times and bad, they show up and they show out.
Archdeacon the Venerable Earl Hepburn also giving a power-packed sermon. In it, he sent out a charge for congregants to embody the characteristics of true saints, not concerning themselves with frivolous matters in their respective line of work.
The saints of God were holy. After all, if God is holy, his people ought to be holy too. Members of the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, do not get caught up in the petty matters and petty individuals in your meeting. I believe you want the Lord to hear, the Lord to say about you and your work. Well done, thou good and faithful servant.
Now, the executive chairman also making a surprise presentation, spreading some generosity to the church through a monetary donation to its feeding program late last month. We celebrated 45 years of television broadcast in the nation. It's now time for a check on sports with Shane Stubbs.
Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm Shane Stubbs, and welcome to another update on sports. Guess what? The Rosina Nesbitt Oriole Notes High School Volleyball playoffs are continuing to heat up. Let's take a look at the action.
The Amarok Blue Jays came away with a huge upset victory over the BMES Warriors in the Rosina Nesbitt Oriole Notes High School Volleyball League Junior Boys semifinals. The Blue Jays were stunned the defending champions 2-1, winning the first set 21-13, dropping the second set 11-21, but winning the third 15-9.
They practice very hard and they enjoy playing the game of volleyball. Trust me, they'll play it every day if you allow them to play. We're going there to win. And we're going to continue working hard. So they're confident now, so I got to keep that.
They will take on the Tabernacle Falcons, who outlasted the Sunland Stingers 2-0, winning both sets 21-10 and 21-16. Next up in sports, champions were crowned in the Grand Bahama Amateur Softball Association. Winning the corporate title was the Rand Shockwavers after defeating Kelly's 10-5 and winning the series 3-1 in their best-of-5 series. Winning the men's title was the Pats Uniforms Reds 3-1 over the Express Food Mart. The Reds would put the finishing touches on Express Food Mart in Game 5, 14-4. And winning the women's division crown.
Good evening, I'm Shane Stubbs. Be safe and be great.
Hi, my name is Roger Russell, Assistant Production Director. I'm so grateful and appreciative of what this great corporation have done for me throughout the years. I had a wonderful time, especially with my friend Lionel Hall. I want to give special thanks to my good friend Lionel Hall, who embraced me and welcomed me in to this beautiful corporation. I want to say happy anniversary, ZNS.
Harvey's
tech bargains. Westmall Plaza carries electronics, games, consoles, Fire Stick, smart TVs, tablets, laptops, accessories, and much more. Phone 602-7657 or 727-6877.
Digital bidding for government contracts is now better than ever. All business owners are encouraged to register on the new and improved e-procurement and supplies registry system to access all government contracts. Never miss another opportunity to grow your business. Registration takes just 5 minutes and gives you instant access to notifications of business opportunities and the ability to submit bids to the Bahamas government. Want to learn more? Visit moffenders.gov.bs and register today.
Island Bedding has the biggest summer sale going on right now. Special. Comforters, mattress pads, sheets, toppers, and best of all, mattress. 35% off, 45% off, 50% off. Oh my goodness! Special, people.
The coconut got this, cocoa skin dripping madness, juiciness ice the vibe. This sweet like a sugar in a dripping like ice, honey. I take all of my love me. Sweet like a sugar in a watch it go ba ba ba, watch it go ba ba ba, watch it go ba ba ba, watch it go ba ba ba. Sweet like a sugar in a
new clear platinum flavored beers with a kick of rum. Make it platinum.
Connaught Bahamas says now is the perfect time to do all those updates and repairs, changing your flooring or updating those windows. Now in stock at Connaught Bahamas are stylish ceramic plank tiles, shower floor tiles, an array of sizes in porcelain tiles, laminate and vinyl flooring, impact and PVC windows. Connaught Bahamas is stocked out with everything you need to enhance your beautiful home, so you enjoy life the way you should. Open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Come on down to Superb Water Depot and Snacks. We sell and we deliver ice, drinks, purified water, alkaline water, and a variety of snacks. Your one-stop shop for all your snacks and water needs. Contact 242-820-2482. We are located number 2 La France Plaza, Peachtree Street. Purified water, 50 cents a gallon. Alkaline water, 80 cents a gallon. Come on now, you can't beat that. We offer superb quality, superb taste, and superb service. Monday to Saturday, 8 to 8, and Sundays, 8 to 2. Superb Water Depot and Snacks. Come on.
Your number one news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Tonight, we highlight marketing manager here in the North, Sabrina Brown. The news veteran has spent 19 years in the news department, climbing the ranks of the news editor before being promoted to manager of marketing department. We salute you on 20 years of service. And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. On behalf of the entire news team here in the North, I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned as the Bahamas Tonight continues.
Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the Atlantic hurricane season. Are you ready? Here's another ZNS hurricane readiness tip to help you prepare.
The Bahamas strengthen ties to combat. Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, Grand Bahama under hurricane threat. A new deal to transform housing and construction. The U.S. and the Bahamas strengthen ties to combat illegal firearms and drugs. And in sports, Coach Yo and her Lady Rebels kick off their season tonight. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
ZNS News is linked up by BTC. Whether it's chatting, gaming, content creating, or working smart to get things done, link up to stay connected with BTC.
This is a Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Good evening, I'm Desmond Saunders. Thank you so much for looking in. Officials on high alert as subtropical cyclone Nicole takes aim for the Bahamas. As the system approaches, the National Emergency Management Agency has activated its response with an emergency meeting at the National Emergency Management Agency, Gladstone Road headquarters. Taking lead, Acting Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, who will update the Bahamas on the country's state of readiness. Our Lloyd Allen standing by.
Acting Prime Minister, Cabinet colleagues, Secretary to Cabinet, PS's senior government officials, good evening. This is our 7 o'clock briefing, of which the Acting Prime Minister would read a statement. There will be no questions for the Acting Prime Minister. We will have an 8 o'clock official briefing for the press, of which we'll take questions then. I'll turn the meeting over now to the Acting Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Minister LaRota, Cabinet colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. What I want to say to all Bahamians and residents, but particularly those in the northern and central Bahamas, is that we must take the threat of Hurricane Nicole seriously. I cannot stress enough that it is better to make preparations and not need them than to take no precautions and regret it. Abaco and Grand Bahama are projected to take a direct hit from Hurricane Nicole. Bimini and Berry Islands are also in the path of the storm. Residents of those islands should take every precaution to secure themselves and their property immediately. Schools and government offices, except for essential services, will be closed in the mentioned islands effective tomorrow until the all clear is given. That is Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, and Berry Islands. Nicole is expected to come when seas are already at a high tide, increasing the chance of flooding. We are strongly urging everyone in low-lying areas, particularly in East and West Grand Bahama and Abaco, to move further inland. We are asking everyone living in domes, trailers, and structures on Abaco and Grand Bahama in particular that are not up to code to make immediate plans to evacuate, to move to a hurricane shelter or another safe place. I assure you that all agencies of government under the command of NEMA are engaged and mobilized throughout the country. They will be providing evacuation assistance before the storm arrives. I reiterate that police and defense force officers and emergency personnel will be providing evacuation services before the storm arrives, but will secure themselves once danger presents itself. We repeat our request that you not try to ride out the storm in domes, trailers, makeshift residences, or low-lying areas, as emergency services will be constrained to provide assistance until the all clear is given. Schools and government offices in Nassau, Eleuthera, and Andros will close effective 12 noon tomorrow until the all clear is given. Airports and seaports on all affected islands are expected to close when the wind reaches 40 knots or higher. We anticipate that this will be tomorrow evening. Andros, Eleuthera, and New Providence are expected to feel impacts of the storm. All residents on these islands are urged to prepare as well. Tropical storm conditions are dangerous, damaging, and potentially deadly. We urge anyone boating, particularly in the northern and central Bahamas, to come back to shore immediately. There is no good reason for anyone to be at sea in these conditions at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you cannot personally secure your property and supply yourself, we urge you to take refuge at a hurricane shelter approved by NEMA. All non-specialized leave for the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force has been canceled until further notice. I want to thank Captain Russell and the NEMA team for their efforts, as well as every government agency who has been keenly involved since the storm presented. The Cabinet of the Bahamas has been briefed several times today, and I have maintained contact with Prime Minister Davis as the situation has evolved. NEMA will provide a full briefing at 8 p.m. today, and I urge you to stay tuned. We all stand ready to provide the support and resources to help keep everyone safe. I also want to urge everyone to pay attention to official media sources for the latest updates. One of the things I love most about the Bahamian people is our resilience. We have faced many storms, and we have been battered many times, but we have never been broken. With preparation, diligence, attention, and God's grace, we will face this together and come through safely. May God continue to bless you, and may God continue to bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Just heard there from Acting Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, updating the country on the state of readiness. And we will return to NEMA headquarters, Gladstone Road, at about 8 o'clock for more updates on this storm. Well, Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean among those tracking this system all day. Basil, what can you tell us? What's the latest?
Hi, this is Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean with a tropical weather update brought to you by BTC and CBS Bahamas. Taking a look at our satellite pictures, we can just track back a second. We can see that defined circulation taking place there, and at 4 o'clock this afternoon, the center of that circulation was some 435 miles to the east of the northwest Bahamas, which is right about here. Nicole is moving towards the northwest now at 9 miles per hour, and we expect some reduction in that forward speed tonight, and that will be followed by a turn towards the west and west-southwest sometime later tomorrow night, which is a Tuesday, and continue on that track across the northwest Bahamas. And by Wednesday night, Nicole could reach hurricane strength as it passes pretty near or over the island of Grand Bahama before taking a turn towards the northwest, once again heading towards the Florida Peninsula. So hurricane warnings are now in place, and that's been issued by the Bahamas Department of Meteorology for the northwest Bahamas, which includes Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands, and we have a tropical storm warning for the remainder of the northwest Bahamas, which includes Andros, New Providence, and Eleuthera. And the residents in the extreme northwest Bahamas, particularly Abaco and Grand Bahama, should start to make the necessary preparation for the arrival of Nicole, and we expect those tropical storm force winds to start affecting much of the northwest Bahamas beginning tomorrow evening. So thereafter, things will be going downhill, the rain showers will start picking up, and there'll be some torrential rainfall over the extreme northwest Bahamas as Nicole make that trek towards the west. This has been the Tropical Weather Update brought to you by BTC and CBS Bahamas.
Thanks much, Basil. I want to remind you again, a briefing will take place with NEMA representatives immediately following this newscast. Meantime, NEMA officials taking steps to evacuate residents in the path of Tropical Storm Nicole as the system takes aim for the Bahamas, presenting a possible threat to their lives and property. Fern Curie has more.
Director of the National Emergency Management Agency, Captain Stephen Russell, says plans are in motion to evacuate residents from vulnerable areas of the country as subtropical cyclone Nicole bears down on the Bahamas. And forecasters predict that the system still may become a hurricane. Those vulnerable areas include Sweetings Key, Marsh Harbor, Little Abaco, and East End, Grand Bahama. Captain Russell assured that the move is necessary to ensure the safety of residents.
We've done it before for Category 1 storm. We have ferries from Sweetings Key to the mainland, as well as buses, all been arranged to bring persons in from those areas and have them accommodated in some properties on the mainland Grand Bahama. Again, that's for Sweetings Key, and those persons in the eastern Grand Bahama.
Captain Russell also expressed concern about a growing shantytown population on Abaco, noting that steps are also being made to move them to a safer area. Residents are also being urged to get their information about the storm from official sources.
The NEMA team is responsible for the information as it relates to the storm. Captain Russell would be the spokesman for that. The government agency responsible for the dissemination of information by law is BIS, and that is not to say carriers cannot carry that information, but let the source be from NEMA as it relates to the storm, and also BIS.
Meantime, residents across the country are also being urged to remain on high alert and to finalize their storm preparations. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Fern Carey.
Well, the nursing officer in charge of disaster management says Family Allen clinics are ready should Tropical Storm Nicole escalate. Antoinette Cumberbatch says contact has already been made and the facilities are ready to go.
We are constantly in a state of readiness. We have made contacts with all the various nurses and administrators within their clinics on the Family Islands, and we are ready. As it relates to medications, they've been advised to go out and check on their vulnerable population, ensure that they receive all their medications, and with the cessation of the mail boats, if they need any additional medications, we'll be sure to transport it via air.
According to Cumberbatch, others such storm preparations have been finalized.
As it relates to generators, the generators have been fueled up and they're ready to go. Their satellite phones are in a state of readiness. They've all been topped up. We have advised them, like I said, to go out into the district and conduct home visits and ensure that our vulnerable population are safe. Those who require evacuation or shelters, we have a listing of them, and they'll be also evaluated. Also, right on the ground in Nassau, we have our initial damage assessment team, our relief teams, as well as our psychosocial teams ready, as well as our shelter management.
As Tropical Storm Nicole continues her projected path towards the northwest Bahamas, residents on those islands prepare, and that's no different for residents on Abaco. Speaking to our news team earlier today, North Abaco Administrator Leonard James Jr. says officials are on high alert and have begun a series of steps to ensure the island is ready for the approaching storm. James also adding that the relevant agencies are standing by to activate, and in some instances, transportation to the mainland has already ceased.
We have a hurricane shelter in Grand Turtle Key, in Grand Key, and on the mainland in Cooperstown. So the hurricane shelter managers would have been put on notice, and once we would have been given instructions from NEMA, they are ready to have it activated. I also can say that at 4:30 p.m., that will be the last ferry between Treasure Key and Green Turtle Key until the weather conditions would be more favorable. Ferry service between McLean's and also Crown Haven. Those ferry services also would be suspended.
Well, the approaching storm also dredging up some painful memories for Abaco residents. James says it is with this that residents are taking extra precautions.
There always is, and I think there always will be, a fear of any kind of depression, any kind of tropical storm, any kind of subtropical storm, any kind of hurricane. That fear is still here in Abaco, especially with the residents. So they are taking this very, very serious. And I think that they are going to do their best in terms of protecting first self, along with property, and also to see how best we could just ride this out and pray that God will continue to be with us until we pass this storm.
The Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training taking no chances. Effective Tuesday, November 8th, all schools on the islands of Abaco, Grand Bahama, Bimini, and the Berry Islands will close until the all clear is given by the Department of Meteorology. Meantime, the ministry advising all stakeholders in the relevant communities to be prudent and check the ministry's social media platforms and other official media outlets for updates. Now, officials at the Nassau Airport Development Company also keeping an eye on the storm, not advising the public through a release issued earlier today that the Lyndon Pendling International Airport will open for operations tomorrow, Tuesday, November 8th, although airline schedules may vary. Nassau Airport stakeholders began meeting as of today at 2 p.m., where the Bahamas Department of Meteorology provided the latest storm forecast data to enable stakeholders to assess the projected movement and status of the storm and its potential impact on LPIA. Aircraft operations will be suspended for several hours on Wednesday as tropical storm conditions are projected to remain in effect over New Providence throughout the day. In a release issued this afternoon, NAD says it will continue to monitor weather conditions closely and will provide a further airport update tomorrow morning. Persons are asked to visit LPIA's webpage and social media channels for the latest information on airport operations. The traveling public is encouraged to contact their respective airlines for flight updates. A listing of all airlines and their contacts can be found on LPIA's website at www.nassauLPIA.com. Well, this cycle is expected to impact domestic travel. Officials from the Airport Authority releasing a list of airport closures beginning Tuesday afternoon. Family Island Airports in Fresh Creek and San Andros, Treasure Key, Leonard Thompson, Sandy Point, Moores Island, Abaco, the Berry Islands, Great Harbor Key, Bimini, South Bimini, and Freeport, Grand Bahama will be closed until further notice. However, airports in Anagua, Ragged Island, Acklands, Crooked Island, Maguana, Long Island, Rump Key, Exuma, and the Keys, San Salvador, New Bight, and Arthur's Town, Cat Island, Rock Sound, Eleuthera, Governor's Harbor, North Eleuthera, Andros, Congo Town, and Mangrove Key will remain open. These airports will be open for assessment on Thursday, November 10th at 8 a.m. Switching gears tonight over in Egypt, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, is making final preparations to deliver his address to the United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP27, as it's more commonly known. The Prime Minister has underscored the message around the world that climate change is one of the biggest threats to the Bahamas. In fact, he holds that climate justice is the greatest fight of our time and continues to be an advocate for urgent action to the crisis. Climate change-related events has caused the Bahamas more than $4 billion over the last 6 years, resulting in an increasing national debt. While building a world that breeds the vision of environmental company Pertana, the company inking a major deal with the government that's expected to transform the domestic construction industry using breakthrough technology. Altavis Munnings has more.
Partana's $50 million investment will establish the country's first carbon-negative housing community. The pilot project encompasses the design, development, finance, and construction of 30 affordable homes. It's welcome news to carbon credit champion, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis.
Under the MOU, Patana must provide proof of verification for the carbon credit which is associated with their product in relation to the technology used in the construction of the homes. Provided the verification process is successful, which I have no doubt it would be, over the following 3 years, we have committed that Patana will increase that number to build 1,000 affordable, sustainable homes.
Government's got two keys to open in this venture: provide affordable homes and meeting the country's carbon priorities. It also supports the Davis administration's wish to create a new carbon-negative building industry in order to generate new job opportunities and training for Bahamians.
Patana has committed to providing employment for at least 100 Bahamians over the life of the pilot project. It will also provide training in a new skill set required to create the foundation of this new global industry.
Prime Minister Davis sealed the deal with Partana's co-founders, His Excellency Rick Fox and Sam Marshall, in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt on Monday. Fox is proud to be a Bahamian investing in his country.
We use recycled materials, which allow us to be carbon negative over its life cycle. Our technology is affordable, scalable, and completely sustainable.
Partana has committed to entering into further negotiations with government to discuss any use of carbon credits generated from this project. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Altaviz Munnings.
Well, we're just getting started. There's more news to come. Stay with us.
A portion of the news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Hear that? If you listen closely, you can hear the heartbeat of a nation. That unique sound of a great country, pounding with colorful history, a rich culture, and unwavering ambition. When you look around, you recognize its pulse. The people who love to celebrate, who identify with triumph, a people who know how to be our brother's keeper. Commonwealth Bank, built by Bahamians, here for Bahamians, Bahamians helping Bahamians.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet's so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet's so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles done cooking.
Mine's so fast when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine's so fast when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
And it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
We need to save.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day.
Be happy. Save at KFC with the one-piece chicken box fill-up for only $5.95. Enjoy genuine savings and the genuine flavor of KFC chicken fried to golden perfection with crispy fries, a buttery biscuit, and an ice-cold Pepsi. Only at KFC Nassau.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best-kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Almost every journey starts with your car. We spend most of the early stages of our lives anticipating getting our first set of wheels. When that moment finally comes, let AID be there for all your auto needs. Make it yours by accessorizing, maintaining, and repairing your car with AID. Whether you're a professional mechanic, a recent graduate, a full-time mom, or an I can fix that kind of guy. Or if you're completely clueless about what your car needs, AID will assist in providing a large variety of auto parts, a diagnostic center, and great customer service. For all life's auto journeys, we're here. AID, all you really need and more.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Canada is an important market for us. Before the pandemic, in 2019, 8% of our tourist arrivals came from Canada. We want to grow that to 10%. 10% as a share of the overall arrivals to the Bahamas, we want to come from Canada. So our market has returned with a vengeance. The USA has returned in full force. We're doing the same levels we've done in 2019. Europe is back, but Canada has been late to the party. So we want to invite Canada to come to the Bahamas, join in the party, and return to all of the wonderful things there are to do in the islands of the Bahamas. Not just Nassau Paradise Island, which is still magnificent for nightlife and shopping and casinos, but also the other destinations. And we have a lot of flights coming to Nassau, Exuma, and Grand Bahamas. So we have daily flights on WestJet, we have daily flights on American Airlines, we have weekly flights to Georgetown, Exuma, we have twice weekly flights on Sunwing to Freeport, Grand Bahama. So we're doing big things. And we wanted our market in Canada to know that we're open for business, and it's truly better in the Bahamas.
For hurricane season, we got impact windows and doors. For protection, just come to our store. Plus we got tiles to pretty up your walls and your floors. We'll help you brighten up for that big bad storm. Porcelain tiles, blank tiles, mosaic tiles, a variety of styles. Before teens get right, they gotta be rough. That's why we got the best deals in the whole Bahamas. Hey.
Well, welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Retail and wholesale grocers to head into another meeting with the government tomorrow to further discuss price control amendments. The proposal grocers submitted about 2 weeks ago has been revised, and 50 items are now on their list for price control amendments. But there are some issues still to be ironed out, according to Retail Grocers Association President Philip Beneby.
And the last offer by the government, they gave a 5% increase to the Family Islands, where they increased the perishables from 30 to 35 and the dry from 25 to 30. The Family Islanders have since said that they don't think that is sufficient because their freight cost cannot be adequately covered by that. That 5% is basically for shrinkage, they say, and the freight cost is extremely high.
The Andros teen accused of killing a German national and wounding another charged with those crimes in a magistrate's court earlier today. The 18-year-old Camps Bay resident Duran Smith was not required to enter a plea when handed down the murder and attempted murder charges. Prosecutors allege Smith is a gunman who fired into a crowd of 3 on November 2nd, killing 57-year-old Torsten Wilhelm Hendrick and wounding Wolfgang Hendrick in the process. The victim, a resident of Germany, was standing outside a Johnson Bay Andros summer home at the time. As for the accused, well, he's due in the Supreme Court on the 28th of March 2023, where he will be served a voluntary bill of indictment. In other court news for you this evening, the man accused of murdering a woman as she exited her Johnson Road home during the early hours of October 31st, arraigned early Monday. That's 48-year-old Lyndon Vincent, charged with the murder of 42-year-old Commonwealth Bank employee Patrice Sawyer. According to police reports, Sawyer was lured out of her home shortly after 5 a.m. on the date in question by a phone call. Moments later, she was shot multiple times about the body. In a matter, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez and his team suspect was a result of domestic violence. While the accused was not required to enter a plea, he is, however, due to face a Supreme Court judge on the 1st of February 2023 for service of a voluntary bill of indictment. We also have details of the arraignment of 3 Cowpen Road residents accused of the October 29th shooting that left one man dead. That's 21-year-old Ashton Wilson, 22-year-old Omar Atkinson, and 24-year-old Ahmad Clark, all charged in connection with that October 29th shooting on 6th Street and Ponciana that led to Fred LaFay's death. The 3 were not required to enter a plea and were instead remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. They're due back in court February 9th, 2023 for service of a voluntary bill of indictment. While the solvency rate for homicides said to be just over 60%, and while that's beyond the midway mark, Police Commissioner Clayton Fernandez insists they're much more focused on prevention.
And you would see a taste of it over the weekend. Officers were up and about in every crease and corner of this Bahama land. We were up and about. We want to be consistent in doing this to ensure that the Bahamian people are safe. A lot of aggressive stop and search. Officers are arresting individuals with possession of handguns. You see what was on social media just yesterday evening, where an individual was moving around and he recorded himself with a gun resting on his lap, and it was an officer was doing point duty and he was highlighting it. And those of you who have seen that video, I'm pleased to say as well that we have that individual in custody.
Comforting words in the face of a country wrestling a triple-digit homicide rate, 6 of them just recently. Still, despite the fear index rising, the commissioner holds firm that the Bahamas is safe.
These individuals are targeting each other. We are seeing the gang retaliation, and that's what our focus is, to disrupt what is going on within those gang retaliations.
In related news, freedom for all those individuals already on bail will be revoked should they commit another offense. That's a new law the government is seeking to have enforced through the judicial system. Minister of National Security, the Honorable Wayne Monroe, sees move as critical not only to fighting crime, but saving lives.
If you breach the terms of your bail, particularly with regard electronic monitoring, the position that the commissioner puts to me, which I agree with, is you shouldn't be put back on bail. So there's a fine now for breaching your bail condition, but committing an offense while on bail is a reason to revoke bail. So if I give you bail on the condition that you wear this monitor so the police can have track of you and you don't comply, and we don't know where you are 24 hours a day, we have a place where we know where you are 24 hours a day. And if you can't comply with the rules for us to know it when you are outside, then we can house you where we know where you are 24 hours a day.
Now, Minister Munro did not say how soon the change will take effect.
We had a productive meeting with the DPP and his officers. The DPP has agreed that Roger Thompson, Chief Superintendent Roger Thompson, who is a lawyer of 14 years standing, who is in the Commissioner's legal office, can marshal these bail revocations in the Supreme Court with lawyers who we have in the Commissioner's office so that there can be a more aggressive process for once you are convicted, once you've dealt with for bail violations, we can then go to the Supreme Court, get your bail revoked. There is a presumption of innocence, fine, but if you're not obeying the rules, then you forfeit your privilege of being on bail.
The National Security Minister speaking on the sidelines of the official opening of a workshop at the police headquarters this morning, one where the Bahamas and the United States strengthened efforts to combat the flow of illicit drugs and illegal firearms. Carla Palmer reports.
A total of 30 local law enforcement officers comprising Customs Excise Unit, the police, and the Defense Force are participating in the latest crime-fighting training initiative to significantly slow, if not stop, the flow of illegal contraband into the Bahamas long before its distribution on our streets.
Thus far, we have a total of 329 firearms, which includes pistols and high-powered rifle. This number climbed over the weekend. We were successful in taking a number of firearms off our streets over the weekend. 4,685 ammunition, assorted ammunition, also taken off the streets thus far for the year.
With illegal firearms reportedly used in 90% of all violent crimes in the country, including murder and armed robberies, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernanda says this training could not have come at a better time.
This training is very timely for the Royal Bahamas Police Force because we are about to officially launch our firearms and anti-gang task force unit in the next week and a half.
While Bahamas Customs is spearheading the small arms and light weapons training, the United States Embassy here in Nassau, having already donated in excess of $25 million to the Bahamas government to fight crime, is now funding this training exercise to the tune of $800,000 over the next 2 years. Duncan Porter represents World Customs Organization and Bridget Premont, the U.S. Embassy.
The WCO welcomes this opportunity to sit here in this beautiful island of the Bahamas and do this first training event in the region.
This matters because we see that illicit trafficking has fueled local gun-related crime and tested law enforcement and justice sector institutions. To counter this, we expect this training will improve customs controls, close capacity gaps, establish shared best practices, and cultivate deeper interagency cooperation and trust.
The U.S. is also lending resources of personnel from its U.S. Justice Bureau of Alcohol, Firearms, and Explosives, and its Homeland Security Investigations Department. The training is expected to encompass both classroom and practical exercises. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Carla Palmer.
Time for the weekly poll question, and this week we're asking, is a government being fair with its new price controls? To participate, simply log on to our website, www.znsbahamas.com, as well as any of our social media platforms to answer. That's all it takes. The poll's final results will be aired on Friday. As always, thanks for participating. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Stay with us.
Public Service Week, more than 25 government ministries and departments set up booths inside the Monarch Marathon to display their work and the opportunities available for a career within the public service. Keynote speaker at the 2022 Career Day Fair, Pierre Gloverol, the Minister of State for the Public Service, highlighted recent achievements.
We've seen numerous union agreements rolled out, resulting in increased salaries and benefits for thousands of public servants. We've increased pensions, approved promotions, and that's an ongoing process, paid gratuities and back pay, and we've also brought back annual increments so that government employees' salaries can better absorb the high cost of living. We're now increasing, as we all know, the minimum wage for both public and private sector to ensure that we're empowering those who need it the most. We're moving forward with plans for the digitalization of all human resource management and document management processes. Our goal is not only to increase the efficiency and productivity within the public service, but get rid of the tedious manual processes so that workers can focus on what really matters, and that's doing the job for our public. We are doing an audit of the entire public service to ensure that our recruitment and hiring efforts match our workforce needs. This will also enable us to determine where further training and development is required.
The weekly specials are just better at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Campbell's Vegetable Soup, 10.5 ounce, $1.49. Bone-in chicken breasts, $2.59 per pound. Panamint raw shrimp, 41 to 50, 12 ounce, $5.99. Triple B Malt Tonic, 12 ounce, $1.09. Sweet mangoes, 2 for $3. Donate your change to help feed their Humane Society animals at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
NBA League Pass is the coolest way to watch the hottest game there is. When threes rain down and superstars heat up. When clutch jumpers splash and your team is fire. You'll be there for up to 40 games a week. Any way you want to watch. NBA League Pass. Order now.
Insurance, secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A friend that you can trust. Family Guardian.
To think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Are you a contractor or new homeowner? Maybe you need a few pieces of lumber for your DIY projects. Welcome to Capital Lumber, the newest building materials company in the Bahamas. Located on Parkgate Road, Nassau, helping you to maximize your savings on lumber, cement, shingles, tools, and much more. Your one-stop shop for all your building essentials. With free delivery to the mail booth, visit us today. Capital Lumber, build strong.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
Time now for a check on Family Island weather temperatures. Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean joins us. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Desmond. We are under partly cloudy skies, temperature at 85 degrees, relative humidity 69%. We have north-northeast winds at 19 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,012.3 millibars. That's 29.90 inches, and the pressure is rising. Temperatures around the Family Islands this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 81 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, and Green Toll Key in Abaco, Marsh Harbor, Abaco at 80 degrees. The Berry Islands 80 as well. Alistown, Bimini 81, 83 in Harbor Island, Rock Sound, Eleuthera 81, Alistown, Cat Island 86, Black Point, Exuma, and Camp Space, St. Andrews, also Fresh Creek, Central Andrews reporting 82 degrees, 86 degrees in San Salvador and Rum Key, Georgetown, Exuma 85, Ragged Island, Clarencetown, Long Island, and Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, Maguana, Acklands, all at 84, 82 degrees in Matthew-Town, Inagua, Turks and Caicos Islands at 80 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Setter. In the northwest and central islands tonight, northerly winds 15 to 25 knots, very rough seas at 5 to 8 feet over the ocean, so advisories are in place for boaters. Low tide takes place at 1:03 in the morning. For the southeast Bahamas, northwest to north winds 15 to 25 knots as well with 5 to 8 foot seas, so that advisory continues right through the southeast Bahamas. And then tomorrow in the northwest Bahamas, those winds continue to increase as Nicole gets a little closer. Northerly winds 20 to 30 knots, very, very rough seas at 8 to 10 feet over the ocean, so we advise boaters at this stage to simply remain in port. High tide will take place at 7:22 in the morning with a low tide at 1:48 in the afternoon. Now for the central Bahamas tomorrow, northwest winds 15 to 25 knots, wave height 5 to 8 feet. Advisories in place for the southeast Bahamas. Southwest to west, 15 to 20 knots. Caution flags are up for your boaters in the southeast Bahamas with those wave heights at 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. And then as we take you into Wednesday, northwest winds 30 to 40 knots. This is around the peak of the arrival of Nicole. Wave heights once again 10 to 14 feet. Small craft again are asked to remain in port on Wednesday. High tide will take place at 8:02 in the morning with the low tide at 2:30 in the afternoon. Now for the central and southeastern islands on Wednesday, southwest 20 to 25 knots, wave height 7 to 9 feet, with caution flags are in place for some of you boaters in the southeast Bahamas. Before the central Bahamas, we're asking you to stay in port. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
Where you going? Well, hey, y'all, where you been, y'all? I've been looking for you. But hey, y'all, where you been, y'all? I've been looking for you. I've been chilling out by the bar last night. This y'all, she was looking nice.
And that's going to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned, the extended weather forecast is still ahead.
She make me feel. It's electric.
Global Learning Exchange can help make your education dreams a reality. Enroll now and your first course is complimentary. Sign up for a free information session today to learn more.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse with my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine so fast when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine so fast when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
Our free pick, pack, delivery service gives everyone in the Family Islands a chance to shop a variety of club products and prices right from home. Simply call or WhatsApp your order to 242-677-7266 or email order@amlfoods.com. A friendly customer service representative is waiting to pick, pack, and deliver your order to the mailboat of your choice. The options are truly endless, and with membership you save even more. So order today and let Costrite pick, pack, and deliver right to you.
The Sports Report is brought to you by Hoop Fest in Paradise, December 16th to the 17th at the Kendall G. Isaacs Gym. The best in U.S. and Bahamian high school basketball. Welcome to your Monday Sports, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports news. The college basketball season officially kicking off tonight on the men's and women's sides. There's a number of Division I basketball programs set to build a foundation on what they hope will be strong seasons. Among them, Coach Yolette McPhee-McQueen and her Ole Miss Lady Rebels are coming off an historic season in Oxford. While she knows expectations are high, with a relatively new squad, Coach Yo says it's one game at a time.
I think right now, which is allowing me to have a really clear focus, is I'm going like one day at a time. So I can't even really focus on Kennesaw yet. I'm so indulged in my team and us having a great practice today. Last year, I could confidently say, it's NCAA tournament or bust because I felt like we had done enough. It was our second group, their second year. I felt good about the pieces we had coming in. This year, I got 9 new players. What I don't want to do is give them an expectation to think far beyond. If we take care of each game one at a time, then maybe we look up and we find ourselves in a position to go back to the NCAA tournament.
A tough loss in last year's NCAA tournament certainly stung, but it's growing pains, she says, for a program she expects to consistently be among the elite very soon.
NCAA tournament is something eventually I want our program, like that's just an expectation. And I think we're probably, if I'm being honest, I think we're like 2 years away of saying, okay, every year they're going to go to a tournament now. You guys will be saying, can she get to the super regional, whatever the case may be. But that's really where I'm at with it. I'm not saying that that's not something that we want to do. I'm just saying, like, right now, my focus is Thursday.
And on the men's side, expectations certainly through the roof for the Creighton Blue Jays in the Big East to enter this season as the number 9 team in all of men's college basketball. Expecting to be a key cog in their success is the much-heralded Bahamian big man out of Abaco, Frederick King, who dominated the NBA Academy, is now hoping to do the same at the collegiate level.
When I first came, I was a shy guy, but they're very great. They made me feel like a brother. Great culture, great coaches, great environment, positive people. We trying to win the Natty, but for me, I'm just trying to be a brother to me every time I step on the court. We just got to stick together as a team, work for each other.
Switching to baseball, he's one of the best Bahamian baseball prospects in recent memory and is now in the midst of a thriving professional career, coming off a season with the New Jersey Jackals of the Frontier League where he hit 9 homers with 34 RBIs with a .327 batting average. We got up with Todd Isaacs Jr. on his expectations for next season.
It's been a journey. I mean, it started in 2015 when I got drafted. And every year is a lesson you learn every year, and it's something that you carry forward into the following season. This past season for me was another really good year. Learned a lot about myself, and I'm super excited for what 2023 has in store for me on the field. Some of the things, just making sure my body's prepared and ready to play 160 games. It's a long season right now. It's October 31st, and baseball is still going on. So the biggest thing for me is just working on my body, making sure that I'm able to withstand the long season, and working on my mind. The mind is the most powerful tool that any athlete could have, so it's making sure that my mind is sharp, alert, and just ready to compete.
And the jet skis were out in the water over at Atlantis this weekend as several international jet ski riders competing at the P1 Aquacross Championships, the second installment of the event and the first held since 2019. With over 30 riders in town, we caught up with a few on being back in the 242, one of them a paraplegic who's hoping to inspire others.
What does it mean for me to compete in Aqua X is I'm fulfilling a desire to go fast, and competing with some of the best riders in the world, it's like the best thing out there. And being out here in the beautiful island of Bahamas, it's phenomenal. Okay, it speaks volumes of all the locals supporting this event, and I can't thank all the volunteers enough for coming out here and all the spectators. It's phenomenal.
Also competing would be Sophia Francis, the only female in the pro division. She's also the husband of the 2019 winner Eric Francis, who tragically passed away earlier this year. Francis on helping to keep her husband's legacy alive.
It definitely means a lot to be back here. I know last time my husband was here and he won the whole thing, which was amazing. It's good to keep coming back and racing, to keep his name alive. Unfortunately, the accident took his life, which it's been hard, but to take his name and to be out there for him and run his number has been a lot to me.
And that's been Look at Your Sports on this Monday. A check on weather when we return. The Sports Report was brought to you by Hoop Fest in Paradise, December 16th to the 17th at the Kendall G. Isaacs Gymnasium, the best in U.S. and Bahamian high school basketball.
Hey, it's your honorary pump attendant here to educate you on the do's and don'ts at the service station. Here's what you don't do. Do not pull up from the pump without first checking that the nozzle has been removed from your car. Because if you pop this, that's about $600,000 to $30,000 to replace. These things ain't cheap. What you want to do is make sure that the nozzle has been removed, or just wait for the universal sign, which is the double tap.
What is an equity? Hi, my name is D.R. Ceramic Jr.
And my name is Winston Roll.
And we're with Arawak X. So what is an equity?
An equity is where, in our context, where a company, or as we call them, issuer, wants to raise capital to grow their business, and so they offer shares to the public so that persons can buy those shares or buy an equity stake in that company. And that equity stake is something that they can use to trade. It can be used as an asset, or they can sell it at a later time. And of course, the option is once the company continues to grow, they can get dividends for that asset as well.
Want to learn more about investing? Sign up for an Arawak X account and get access to our investor education portal. Arawak X accounts have zero sign-up fees, zero monthly maintenance fees, and take only 7 minutes to sign up. Visit arawakx.com or scan the QR code on the screen to get started.
Today, we're doing a beach cleanup. So it makes us think about, number one, the plastic is coming from all around the world. And then we have an international team working on this beach to remove that plastic to make this community better.
This is one of those beaches that always has marine debris that washes up, and so we're doing our part just to remove as much of it as possible.
We have a lot of key species and native and migratory species that rely on our beaches for nesting sites or food. So it means a lot for Disney to be a part of this and for me to be a part of this initiative.
Mother Earth is all that we have to rely on in general. So if we don't find ourselves being involved with keeping it the way it should be kept, then we find ourselves neglecting one of the most important things in life.
The Disney volunteers are everywhere trying to make a difference. If you could see the amount of debris we picked up off of this beach, I feel we did make a difference here today.
Being the CFO at this young age, it really is very fulfilling to me, and it really shows that the hard work, the hours that I put in my career, they really paid off. Having such young persons in such a key role really shows that the board of directors have a lot of trust in the leadership of the young people. Being committed to excellence means that you put all of your effort into whatever it is you're doing to get the best benefit out of that task or anything you're doing in life.
There's no better time than now to update the look of your home. Right now at Tile King, you will save 20% on countertops and tiles, 15% on mosaics, and 10% on brick pavers. This amazing sale is happening right now at Tile King, located in the Builders Mall, number 69 Wolf Road. Sale ends on November 12th, so hurry on in so you don't miss out.
I've been blown away. Totally love the vibe to really be able to lead this process. I feel a great sense of gratitude around being able to have Shelly to be here with us.
This event was one that you had to be here.
You know, any time that I am able to spend time with especially young women who have aspirations and things they want to achieve, it is just always wonderful. So this has been a terrific experience today.
So as we told you at the top of the newscast, NEMA officials will provide an update on the storm. So as we close out, we turn it over to NEMA headquarters on Gladstone Road for the very latest.
Commence our 8 p.m. press briefing as it relates to Tropical Storm Nicole. I'll issue some brief remarks and then I'll turn over to Captain Stephen Russell, who would introduce the leaders of the relevant government agencies to give an update on Tropical Storm Nicole. After the speakers, then we'd have a question and answer period. Early on today, myself and a few cabinet ministers were briefed. We had a full cabinet briefing later on this evening. The Prime Minister has been briefed by the Acting Prime Minister, I. Chester Cooper. Statements were made with regards to the closing of schools and government buildings in affected areas tomorrow, full closures, and also around 12 o'clock. Those information will be disseminated will be reinforced, and we'll take questions after that. I'll turn on now to Commander Stephen Russell, who will introduce the speakers for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Leruto. Colleagues, media, good afternoon to all, good evening to all of you, and good evening, Bahamas. Again, as the Minister mentioned, we had a series of briefings throughout the course of the day, appraising the Cabinet, the Prime Minister, in terms of the state of readiness of the country for the approaching storm. I have a series of our technical officers here this evening to further enforce various aspects of those presentations to share with you, the media. I want to share one thing with you before I start calling our series of speakers. All of our shelters in the areas, under the warning areas, they'll be activated tomorrow as of 0900, that is 9 a.m. in the morning. Our shelters will be fully activated in those areas. We have plans and motions to evacuate persons from Grand Key as well as Sweden's Key and to bring them into the mainland out of potential harm's way. And that plan of action will be activated as early as 9 a.m. as well in the morning. So shelters and evacuations, they will take place as of 9 a.m. tomorrow. We urge persons in those areas where we are deeming areas to be evacuated. We strongly urge persons, once the teams come to evacuate them from the area, please move with the teams. Once the teams would have departed, they're not coming back for persons who have changed their mind in the process. Thank you on that matter. We look forward to your cooperation during that evacuation exercise tomorrow. Again, our first speaker to present you on the update on Tropical Storm Nicole. I have a team from the Department of Meteorology. Mr. Green, can you come, please?
Good evening, everyone. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday the 7th of November 2022. Nicole was located at 26.7 degrees north, 70.8 degrees west. That's 378 miles east of Hopetown, Abaco, 440 miles east-northeast of East End, Grand Bahama, 372 miles east-northeast of Harbor Island, Eleuthera, and 420 miles east-northeast of New Providence. Nicole is moving towards the northwest at 8 miles an hour. Maximum sustained winds remain at 45 miles an hour. Winds of 40 miles an hour extend outward up to 310 miles. Some of the impacts expected from the passing of subtropical storm Nicole is storm surge, which can raise water levels by as much as 3 to 5 feet above normal tides along coastal areas. Rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches is expected, with localized higher amounts of up to 6 inches across the northwest Bahamas from Tuesday through Thursday. Formation of waterspout and tornadoes are possible during the passage of Nicole, and we expect that to last until about Saturday because of the trailing thunderstorms that will be around after the passage of the storm. Coastal erosion of Atlantic exposed beaches with hazardous waves and swells will affect most of the northwest and portions of the central Bahamas. So flooding is likely along coastal areas as the storm passes through the northwest Bahamas. In terms of timelines, we expect that the storm would affect the Abacos in terms of tropical storm winds as of Tuesday evening. And the same is for Grand Bahama. That will be at 11 p.m., that late that evening. For the Berry Islands, we expect tropical storm conditions around the evening of Wednesday morning, 12 a.m. Bimini, they should start receiving tropical storm force winds around 5 a.m. on Wednesday. And New Providence should start receiving tropical storm force winds at 2 a.m. on Wednesday. So we are warning especially the boaters that they should have already secured their vessels. If not, they should secure them before the passage of the storm. We know that as the winds increase, that would be a more difficult task. So we're asking everyone who has a boat or to moor them and come safely inland. Other impacts, they would be from any of the storms that are passing through the central islands as the storm travels towards the west. So we have other isolated cells that will most likely affect the central islands as they move towards the west, the rain bands. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Green, from the Department of Meteorology. I'm going to call on the Executive Chairman of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, Mr. Alex Storr. As you're aware, the DRA still have coverage of recovery in the disaster zone of Abaco and Grand Bahama. Mr. Alex Storr, please.
Good evening, everybody. We have begun contacting our contractors in the affected zones, especially those in charge of the debris management sites, to make sure that those sites are secured and that we don't have a situation where we have missiles and other debris littered about caused by the hurricane. We have also begun contacting contractors, and we work closely with the Ministry of Works to make sure that there's a coordinated effort should there be a hit, that we can have any debris, any other obstructions cleared as quickly as possible. We have also been contacting through our database persons that are living in RVs and domes on private property in the affected areas. We strongly advise against anybody staying in those domes and RVs during the passage of the storm. And as a matter of fact, our teams went into one of the RV sites today and, after speaking with residents, encountered some resistance on persons that did not want to move. I will say this, especially those in Abaco that are in RVs, you know what a hurricane can do. You have seen the effects. You are living in the RVs because of what the last hurricane past did. You do not want to face, even though it's a Category 1, you do not want to face a hurricane in what is basically a tin can. And I'll put it bluntly like that. I think that Captain Russell spoke earlier today about a next of kin form for you to fill out. Do not take that lightly. If there's a direct impact of a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane with 45+ mile-per-hour winds, you do not want to be in either the domes or in the RVs. And so we strongly recommend that you evacuate. The shelters will be open in the morning, or if you have family members or another place that you can move to, please do that as soon as possible. Do not wait for the last minute, and do not attempt to stay in the domes or RVs, and then when the hurricane comes, you want to put emergency service at risk because you're calling for rescue. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Chairman Stoll. And I call Acting Director of Local Government, Mr. Neil Campbell. Campbell, sir.
Thank you, Captain Russell. Good evening, Minister, colleagues, members of the press. All 33 local government Family Island districts would have had their disaster consultative committee meetings between yesterday and this afternoon. Areas that are said to be impacted, those being the islands of Grand Bahama, Abaco, Berry Islands, Bimini, the Grand Key, and Sweetens Key. They all report multiple sources of communication, albeit sat phones, VHF radios with varying bands, police trunking systems, along with the government-issued cellular phones. There are no emerging concerns after our last briefing, other than what was suggested earlier, where there was a concern in reference to a satellite phone being available in the Berry Islands. I could say of all the concerns that were advanced by the various Family Island administrators, once we would have spoken to the minister responsible, the Honorable Miles Loroda, seemingly all of those problems were resolved. The first being the satellite phone that was sent into the Berry Islands this afternoon and was received by the clinic there. Also, there are plans on the way with ACP Dames, if the airport schedule allows, for us to send another sat phone into the administrator tomorrow morning. Also coming out of the Berry Islands, we have Coco Key that is going to loan us 3 portable generators for the duration of the storm. And members of the public today in the Berry Islands were also advised by the local leadership there to remove themselves from the low-lying areas and move to the other areas that are deemed to be more safe. In Grand Bahama, we have coming out of East Grand Bahama, first of all, where the population is between 351 to 500, and with Sweetens Key with 45 individuals, which we understand now that they are about to be evacuated. The evacuation schedule thus far for East Grand Bahama is given by the chairperson there, our administrator, Mr. Gilbert Kemp. It advises of the boat schedule being for Sweetings Key, Grand Bahama at 9 a.m. The bus schedule that'll be leaving McLeanstown, Grand Bahama will be at 9:30 a.m. Pelican Point, Grand Bahama at 9:45 a.m. and High Rock, Grand Bahama at 10 a.m. Bevanstown/Gambia Point and Freetown, Grand Bahama at 10:15 a.m. and Smiths Point, Mathertown, Grand Bahama at 11 a.m. Those are the evacuation schedules for the East Grand Bahama district. We also note that the Maurice Moore Primary School is a shelter of choice for the East Grand Bahama residents, which has a capacity for 400 individuals. In West Grand Bahama, we're very thankful for our leadership team there, and they are diligently about. They would have checked the district, and at this time we have no serious concerns. In North Eleuthera, the administrator, Mr. Stephen Wilson, is advising that there may have been a challenge or concern by way of fueling beyond the hurricane point. And again, with speaking to the minister, that seemed to be being relieved almost immediately. So we understand the truck with fuel is on its way to North Eleuthera, just in time before the closure of the glass window bridge. Also, in the Abacos, our administrators in the 3 districts are also working together. They would have checked the drains and other things as the protocol dictates, and there are no concerns at this present time. On another point of note, there were 3 resignations in the local government system, and we were due to have by-elections this Thursday. Evidently, or God would have it, that South Eleuthera will not have an election as no one offered themselves, so hence our minister will have to do the appointing. And in Cat Island, only 1 person nominated, so the person automatically takes that seat, that vacancy. And in San Salvador, where the system will not seemingly be affecting, they'll be having an election this Thursday, the 10th of November. The writs would have been issued on the 18th of October. Nomination day was on the 25th, and the election follows on the 10th of November. Our overall checklist of government property, drains, medical supplies, animal care and release, boaters, hotel properties, all yielded favorable results. And with the swift water rescue teams, they're now in ready mode once the need arises. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Director Campbell, for the update. For Social Services, I'll now call on Andrea Newbold, the Chief Welfare Officer from the Department of Social Services. Newbold, please.
Good evening, everybody. Shelter managers are on standby for activation of shelters in all the affected area as of 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. The updated shelter list for Grand Bahama is as follows. Bethany Baptist Church, Hannah Hill, 8 Mile Rock. Bethel Deliverance Center, Jonestown, 8 Mile Rock. Calvary Temple, Small Chapel, Clive Avenue, Freeport. Central Zion Baptist Church, 8 Mile Rock. Church of God of Prophecy, Pinedale, 8 Mile Rock. Church of God of Prophecy, Seagrape, 8 Mile Rock. First Baptist Church, Columbus Drive, Freeport. Revelation Faith, Apostolic International, Jobson Avenue. Foster B. Pestina Hall, Christ the King Special Needs Shelter, East Atlantic Drive, Freeport. Maurice Moore Primary School, Sandcombe Drive, Arden Forest, Freeport. Central Church of God, Coral Road and Pioneers Way. First Holiness Church of God, Young Husband and Shipton Drive. Outreach Temple, OEC, Pioneers Way and Fawcett Lane. New Olivet Baptist Church, Holmes Rock. New Life Worship Center, Coral Road, Freeport. Shiloh Seventh-day Adventist Church, Sandcombe Drive, Freeport. Thank you.
Thank you, Nebo, from the Department of Social Services. And I call on ACP Chivago James from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Communications Unit.
A very pleasant good afternoon and good evening to all. The Royal Bahamas Police Force has completed its preparedness. Our communication network, inclusive of satellite radios, both in New Providence and the Palm-Bay Island, have been tested and are in a ready state. We've had a meeting with our Palm-Bay Island commanders in those affected areas, and they have assured us that they are in a ready state. However, Andres and Grand Bahama is in need of a satellite phone, and we have already dispatched a satellite phone to the airport to be sent to Grand Bahama and Andres first thing tomorrow morning. We will activate our command center at police headquarters at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and so that we can be able to respond to anything that comes our way reference to this hurricane. Once again, all of the Royal Bahamas Police Force communications network, inclusive of satellite communications, have been tested and is in a ready state. The Royal Bahamas Police Force stand ready, willing, and able to assist as need be. Thank you.
Thank you, ACP James. From the Airport Authority, Mr. Nico Davis, the Director of Family Island Airport Department. Mr. Davis, please.
Good evening, all. The Airport Authority has closely monitored the development of Tropical Storm Nicole, which is forecast to impact the following islands: Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, the Berry Islands, Eleuthera, New Providence, and Andros. In order to safeguard our staff and passengers, we have decided to take the necessary measures to close the following airports effective Tuesday, November 8, 2022 at sunset. Grand Bahama International Airport, Linden, Pinland International Airport, Leonard Thompson International Airport, Morris Island Airport, Sandy Point Airport, Treasure Key Airport, South Bimini International Airport, Great Harbor Key International Airport, Governor's Harbor International Airport, North Eleuthera, Rock Sound International Airport, and San Andres. These airports will remain closed until the 10th of November 2022, or subject to the all clear by the Bahamas Meteorologist Department to resume safe operations. After the passing of the Tropical Storm Nicole, assessment teams will be sent out, and if all is in order, the airports will reopen by 1 p.m. Thursday, November 10, 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Peter Rutherford, the Managing Director of the Airport Authority. Sir?
Good evening, everybody. Further to Mr. Davis's update, I would just like to advise that we've seen an uptake in travel for LPIA as of this afternoon. LPIA will resume normal operations until the end of business day tomorrow. Now, that being said, any members of the public who wish to travel tomorrow should check in with their domestic carriers to make sure that their schedules remain the same. So please bear that in mind as you make preparations to travel into LPIA and from LPIA. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. And I call on Commander Sonia Miller, Royal Bahamas Defense Force.
Good afternoon, all. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force Hurricane Plan has been activated. Leave for all Royal Bahamas Defense Force personnel has been canceled. All shelter managers, search and rescue, impact teams, EOC and NEOC teams have all been mustered, issued their gears, and placed on standby. Our ships are making final preparations to deploy on hurricane avoidance by tomorrow morning, the latest. With the exception of HMBS Lawrence Major, she is presently taking on NEMA's dry food and water. Also, she is taking on heavy-duty equipment and operators, along with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force impact teams. HMBS Lawrence Major is expected to slip HMBS Coral Harbor Base by end of day, which is late this evening. Our BDF teams are already on the ground in Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini. They are there to assist the administrators and the general public as necessary. Response teams are also here and are also placed on standby here on the island of New Providence. The Defense Force NEOC team is expected to close up at NEMA tomorrow morning by 0840 to assist with NEOC activities here at NEMA. Once again, I can say on behalf of our commander of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Commodore Raymond King, Defense Force remains committed and we're ready to assist the Bahamian people. Thank you.
Commander Miller, thank you so much. Antoinette Cumberbatch, Senior Nursing Officer, the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness remains in a state of readiness as it relates to disasters and in this situation, our focus is on the threat of the subtropical storm Nicole. As it relates to our clinics are relatively in good condition. Currently, Fresh Creek Clinic is under construction and they will relocate to the administrator's building pending the situation. The generators have been topped up with fuel and are operational. Satellite phones have been topped up with minutes and replenished. There are currently 34 satellite phones, 7 in New Providence, and 27 in the Family Islands. There is adequate medical, surgical, pharmaceuticals, and vaccines in place. Additional emergency supplies were transported via air today. Alternative treatment sites have been identified in the event the clinics become compromised. Emergency plans and 24-hour duty rosters were compiled, and the various stakeholders are familiar with the plan. We have been in constant contact with our clinic administrators, as well as our physicians and nurses in charge. As it relates to human resources, the medical teams, as well as our ancillary staff, is adequate in the proposed areas at risk. Emergency plans and 24-hour duty rosters were complied. Locally, our medical teams are on standby to assist in the event the need arises. This is inclusive of our IDA teams, which is the initial damage assessment teams, and we decided to attach mental health nurses to each team. Our relief teams, as well as our emergency response team and our EOC teams, are also in place. Shelter managers for special needs shelters have been assigned whenever the on-call is given. There are currently 4 treatment centers in New Providence, namely Flamingo Gardens Clinic, Fleming Street Clinic, Elizabeth Estates Clinic, and Gambia Clinic. We are urging all of our vulnerable population, which we have listings for each clinic area, as well as the Family Islands, as well as our wider community and our colleagues, to be prepared. Have your family plans, business plans, and ensure that each member knows the plan. Preparation is the key to mitigate against this system. We also want to say that we want you to stay safe, Bahamas. And in the event that evacuation is necessary, we also have a listing of all those persons who are in need of evacuation and also shelter accommodation. Thank you.
Senior Nursing Officer Cumberbatch, thank you so much for that update. Mr. Bradley King from the Ministry of Public Works and Utilities. Mr. King.
Thank you and good evening. The Ministry of Public Works is responsible for several very important functions as relates to disaster management and preparation in general, and for this particular storm in particular. That includes, first of all, the security of government buildings. And in that end, plans and our offices in the relevant areas have already made plans and have secured our secure government buildings, and that process will continue to be put in place in advance of the impact of the hurricane. We also responsible for damage assessment, and those teams will be available and will be sent out as soon as it is safe to do so after the impact of the hurricane and the all clear is given, to travel to do the assessment, the physical assessment of the extent of damage, so that decision makers can have the information that they need in order to go out and respond with proper recovery and restoration efforts. We also responsible for clearing of roads and storm drainage. Teams are in place, and contractors, we have made arrangements with them to deal with clearing the roads and storm drainage as much as practicable. You will understand that because of the way the physics work, certain things, there are certain amount of things you can and cannot do. But alliances have been made with private contractors to deal with the clearing of roads and storm drainage. And let me say in connection to that, I know that one very important item that's on people's minds is the glass window bridge in Eleuthera. Plans are being put in place to close the glass window bridge. The anticipated time is approximately 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And that will be, is being pursued. That's already been arranged. And of course, conditions change. If conditions warrant, it may be early, it may be later, but that's the target time that you can plan for to have the glass window bridge closed. The corporations, we coordinate with corporations. They all have their plans. They've all activated their plans, and they are ready and as they normally do and respond to it. That includes not only the Government Utility Corporation, but also REV Cable Bahamas. And so I just want to assure the Bahamian people that in terms of the infrastructure and the engineering aspects, we stand ready to respond. And of course, the Bahamas Building Code is always an ongoing mitigation measure that we have confidence in. We can have confidence in those structures that are built to code will stand. Those who don't, we support the recommendation that you evacuate. If you suspect your house is not up to standard, please do so. And beyond that, we just want to say that we will do what we can, all that we can, to see that from a physical and an infrastructural point of view, that the Bahamas is safe and ready to respond. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. King, from the Ministry of Public Works and Utilities. Again, I'll call on the Minister of State, Miles Soroda, who will give us some wrap-up remarks before we go into question and answers, please. Sir?
Thank you, Commander Russell. I would just like to say thank you to Commander Russell and the team at NEMA, and also the other government agencies who have been working diligently in preparing the country for this storm. I would like to thank the media for their coverage, but I would like to reiterate the statements that were made by the acting Prime Minister early on today with regards to evacuations. The Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Defense Force, have made arrangements to evacuate persons from the Keys or those vulnerable areas. I would like to stress again, when those individuals or those parties come, please make yourself available. The commandant of the Defense Force and also the Commissioner of Police have given instructions to their employees, who are also citizens, while they provide a much-needed service to remove our citizens out of harm's way. There is a personal responsibility on individuals to make the job of those officers easier. Once that time has passed, it has passed. There is not going to be a redo. There's not going to be any exception made for individuals who would have changed their minds. We see what happened in these hurricanes, and we want to stress and stress again. Once the evacuation period has passed, it has passed. We pray for God's mercies. We ask our citizens to be vigilant. The government agencies are prepared, and we are a resilient country. We too will bounce back from this. But I just wanted to do two things: thank the agencies and also ask our citizens, especially in those affected areas where evacuation is required, to please make yourself available to be evacuated into safety. Thank you.
Minister Soroda, thank you so much. Again, ladies and gentlemen of the media, you've heard from a full team of technical officers, including our minister and his remarks in terms of the state of preparedness of each of the respective ministry departments to make their efforts for a joint response as to how to respond prior to, during, and in the aftermath of this particular storm that is approaching us. They're now open for any of your questions. Please.
Mr. Russell, Lloyd Allen, WNS News. So obviously the Bahamas is very used to the passing of these hurricanes and the like, but we heard a lot tonight about the response from the government perspective. Oftentimes there are persons who remain in their homes, and is there an update that you can provide, or someone here is able to provide, in terms of the resilience of communications networks like the Lives and BTC and so forth, and even electricity?
Electricity, we can deal with electricity. Mr. Sterling Moss, please, on electricity.
Good evening, everyone. So the question with respect to resiliency of our electrical networks. BPL as an agency designs its electrical systems to Cat 3. Over a series of years, we've been upgrading our systems, and in particular, places like Abaco, post-Dorian and prior to Dorian, we have systems that have been designed to withstand Cat 5. So periodically, as we've had storms, we've been rebuilding our networks to withstand higher category storms. So Cat 3 and up to Cat 5. Hope that helps you, your question.
Thank you, Mr. Moss from BPL. We had a person from Alive here, but I think they would have stepped out. We'll try and get an answer to that too before early in the morning, okay? In reference to the telecommunications infrastructure, the resilience, and the redundancies that we have in place for communications. But we're happy between Batelco and Alive. They have some robust systems that were tested in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. So we're somewhat pleased with what they have brought into the inventory since Hurricane Dorian. But we'll definitely make contact with somebody from those agencies tomorrow to give you clarification and make sure you're satisfied in the question that you're asking, okay? Any other questions for any of the members? Shelters. They want to know the number of shelters that are on Abaco and Grand Bahama and those that will be activated. Come, please. I know we mentioned it earlier, but I think she called. Come, please, in reference to the number of shelters in Abaco and Grand Bahama that will be activated tomorrow, on the total numbers.
Could we have a total of 12 shelters will be activated 9 a.m. tomorrow morning in Abaco, and that's in North, Central, and South. Grand Bahama has 16 shelters that will be activated tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
People still recovering and, not having houses or staying, do you believe that the amount of shelters will be sufficient for the people who maybe need to go there?
Well, at this point, we took in consideration the COVID pandemic, and Grand Bahama added more shelters than they had. They had initially, they had 11, and now they added 5 more. We would like to have those gyms up and running, and so they'll accommodate more persons. Well, shelters are usually open for 3 days. Dorian has showed us that, we could even stay longer based on the intensity of the storm.
Do you anticipate that the storm will strengthen beyond a Category 1 in the northern Bahamas?
So far, on the projected track, the storm is not expected to strengthen any more than that. In fact, earlier today, the storm was projected to be a hurricane as it crossed the Grand Bahama area. However, the further update, that system will now be out of the Bahamas when it becomes a hurricane near the West Palm Beach area of Florida.
And a follow-up question for you as well. We've heard about the 4 major islands, Abaco, Grand Bahama, and Bimini and Berry Islands, but we've also heard about New Providence, Andros, and Eleuthera being impacted. To what degree are the latter 3 expected to have impact?
Well, all of the islands will experience tropical storm force winds. The islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama will have stronger tropical storm force winds of around 58 miles per hour to around 73 miles per hour. So they have stronger winds there, but all of the islands will get tropical storm force winds of over 38 miles per hour.
And again, you spoke about those bands. So those bands will be reflective of those increasing winds?
Yes, we expect as the storm comes closer to us, we'll have more rain bands affecting us. And in those rain bands, you could have some severe thunderstorm activity. Yeah, so at times, you will have those storms passing through in the bands.
And then finally, in regards to flooding, of course, we know that caution is the order of the day. But in low-lying areas, here in New Providence and other islands, should they be very concerned?
Yes, we are concerned for anyone in a low-lying area. If you know your area will normally flood, we're asking you to take all precautions. So if you have an area that is will flood and flood your home, we'll ask you to go to a shelter.
And how much water are we talking about here?
2 to 4 inches of rainfall is expected, but localized maximums of up to 6 inches is expected in some areas. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for any member of the team?
Is there resistance to people who live in the areas that are activity? Is there any intention for a mandatory evacuation order?
No, at this point in time, we're strongly urging persons to evacuate once the announcements are made to evacuate. Like I mentioned, as of tomorrow, 9 a.m., Sweden's Key, the Eastern Grand Bahama, and Grand Key, those are the areas that we have plans in motion to move as of 9 a.m. tomorrow. A person's refusing to move, once our team would have moved on, that's it for that exercise in those respective islands.
And a follow-up question for police. In regards to those 4 major islands, again, we've had concerns in the past of persons looting. And so during the topic of this Category 1 storm, what assurance can you offer to business operators that safety will be the order of the day?
Thank you for your question. Yes, safety definitely will be the order of the day, and I can assure the Bahamian populace that the Royal Bahamas Police Force will be up and about as the weather would permit. And so we want to take this opportunity now to warn those persons who may want to take advantage of the storm passing to lewd and the likes, that the Royal Bahamas Police Force will be out in full force. And where do we find persons in breach of the law, you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And so once again, the Royal Bahamas Police Force will be out there as much as the weather will permit us to be out there enforcing the law.
Is there any advice, though, that you can offer to those business operators to ensure safety?
Yes. First of all, we want you to ensure that your business places are fully secured. Make all the necessary preparations that you need to ensure that your business places are secured. The officers will be up and about checking those business places in those vulnerable areas, those hotspot areas that we know about. And so please take every precaution to ensure that your business places are secured.
Ladies and gentlemen, any other queries or questions? Now, so my final point is, we are part of the regional system, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, an arm of CARICOM, I was on a conference call with the team from the Med Department on a conference call at 1 p.m. this afternoon, and they've assured us that all the systems of the SEJIMA mechanism are on standby to support the Bahamas as they would have done in the past. They were assured of us of that, and once a request is made for assistance, if necessary, they will dispatch all their resources to assist us as necessary. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our briefing this evening. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, and have a pleasant evening.
Garbage. It's a fact of life. With more than 60,000 residents in Grand Bahama, we create a lot of garbage. When our garbage is collected and carried away, it's tempting to think that it's gone. In reality, though, it has to go somewhere. And for most of Grand Bahama, that somewhere is the Pine Ridge landfill. Every year, more than